Hey everyone, Dave from BC Bushcraft. This is my heat treat video on the two knives that I am currently still making. I finished one, but this is how I heat treated them. So I have a magnet to check if I'm around the right temperature for the heat treat. I basically am going to be using a blowtorch and a camping stove, a Coleman camping stove, to get the blades up to heat. So basically my plan is to have the knives in a vice grip like that, go over the heat, dunk it in the oil, which is going to be over here, and then I'm going to use my blowtorch to also increase the heat on the blade and get that blade up to the temperature it needs to be, which is basically a few degrees past non-magnetic. So once your blade gets to non-magnetic, you got to heat it up a little hotter. So I preheated my quench oil. You can pretty much preheat your quench oil somewhere between 100 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit, but 130 is right around the sweet spot for this. I used canola oil and roughly 3 liters of canola oil to do this. So here I'm just lighting up the blowtorch, lighting up my Coleman stove, and this is totally a hillbilly heat treat, but it did work and I managed to heat treat my blades. So I basically, this is my smaller knife, not my bigger knife, but I put the two blades, moved them back and forth in the flames, and I also moved the blowtorch back and forth, trying to concentrate more on the spine of the knife than on the edge of the knife. You don't want to overheat your edge, so I was trying to direct the heat flow towards the spine. Here I'm checking if it's non-magnetic. I think it's still magnetic there, so I got to keep heating it up even though it's starting to get that cherry red color. So here we go again, checking not magnetic. So now I'm going to heat it up a little bit more, and then I'm going to go right into the quench oil. And just checking to make sure I'm past that point still, and still going to heat it up a few shades more. And then we're going to go as quickly as we can into the quench oil. And when you go into the quench oil, you want to go back and forth. You don't want to do like figure of eights, which people who heat treat other things have been taught figure of eight. That can actually warp your blade, so it's best to go in a back and forth motion to cool the blade down as easily as possible. Here I'm doing a file test, and the file is skating across the surface, which means I did get hard. So I'm going on to my second knife, which is a little bit of a bigger blade, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get it up to temperature. I made sure that my quench oil was still at the right temperature, and I preheated my quench oil on the stove, and then I brought it outside, poured it into my tank that I plan to quench in, and that's how I did that. So I'm just heating my blade, checking it's not magnetic, and then I'm going a few shades hotter to try to get it to that right place. And you're not going to get a perfect heat treat doing it this way, but you are going to get a hardened blade, which is kind of what I'm going for. It's my first two knives. I'm not trying to get crazy technical here. I don't care too much about the Rockwell hardness and all the other stuff. I just want to have a knife that can perform and do some tasks in the wood, and then later on I'm going to perfect my heat treat. But right now this is how I heat treated both of my blades, and both of them worked. So here I go into the quench oil, trying to move it back and forth and turn off all of my torches so it's safe. And I'm wearing leather gloves, which is a good idea too, so you don't burn yourself, just in case. And then just back and forth motions, let the blade cool down in the quench oil for, 5 minutes or something. I just kept doing that until I thought it was the right time to pull it out. Back and forth motions, trying to cool the blade as quick as you can. And then here I'm just kind of letting it rest, and we're going to check it with a file, and the file skates across, which is a good sign. So now we're going on to the tempering cycle. I did clean up the blades with 200 grit to get some of the ugly black stuff off before I went to do the temper cycle. And basically I'm using this aluminum tray to hold the knives like stand the knives up straight, and to kind of deflect any direct heat flow on the blades. So right here I got them set up. They're standing up straight like that, and then I'm putting them for 2 temper cycles, 1 hour each, and I set my oven to 425. And everyone says that ovens are, can be quite inaccurate, but basically you should be okay if you do your temper cycles anywhere between like 410 to 450 degrees Fahrenheit for your temper. Should be okay. And after 2 cycles, your blade should be tempered, and you can obviously go to 3 if you want to. And then now I'm just kind of going on to my knife that I've actually finished now, and just cleaning up what kind of the tempering color. You kind of get this straw color on your blade when you temper as well. So on this side I've cleaned it up and got rid of that color, and then on the reverse side you will see kind of what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. So I did cool with water in between temper cycles too, and that's what the blade looks like after when it comes out of the oven. So cleaned it up, and then next up is just the final stages for each knife. So this is how I heat treated my blades, and I hope you liked the video. This is Dave from BC Bushcraft. Please like, please subscribe, and do all those fun things, and please drop a comment.